Hey y'all, welcome back to the shit show. So I have more of a car again, a little bit less of a box of parts, and a little bit more of a vehicle. So today just gonna do a little update where stuff is right now, some of the custom stuff that's been done, some of the things that shop has done, fab work has done, and then next things I need to complete before it's back on the road driving and we can go make hits and feel all the boost. So yeah, hang tight, we're gonna dive right in. Okay, so I'm starting in the back here actually, just to show some of the trunk setup. I got it on the charger, the tender here, because the battery wasn't the happiest for a little bit when we were trying to first start. Pretty sure I showed all the battery relocation, but you can see the fuel system as well has an extra breaker right here. And then there's the FC3 controller for the pumps right here as well. If anybody really wants to see that, I can do a video on the fuel system setup, but there's so many videos done. I've seen a whole bunch of people do YouTube videos on how to do fuel system setup, so I don't think it's really any point to do it. I've been trying to make videos on things I haven't seen content of, because there's been plenty of things that I've been trying to do on this car, haven't seen content anywhere, and I had to figure it out all from the beginning. So I've been trying to share that to help other people. But yeah, so that's rear stuff. That's where that's at right now. And then I'll move up to the interior. A little bit more streetcar happening here. The seat's back in. I got that flip down for right now, but that can flip back up. And yeah, this is pretty much the same. Nothing much has changed in there, just the seat's back in. So then all the big stuff is up here in the front. Yeah, look at that. It's like a whole car again. So this is pretty much going to be all fab work up here that I'm going to talk about, but I'll start with fuel systems. You can see these really cool fuel rails. Pretty sure they're Billet Pro Shop, but collab with Coyote Direct. And you can see all the lines that are in there. I tucked the fuel regulator right in here. I thought it was a really nice place just to hide that in there. This bracket comes from Mike Thomas Fab. It just bolts on to the front of the engine here, and then the vacuum block and the pressure regulator both fit on there. I had to modify the bracket a little bit to fit, because this is the 4 Innovations vacuum block, and it's made to fit with a Vibrant one, so I just had to drill new holes for that. But this is set up, got the line that goes to the fuel regulator, and then this will be boost reference in, and these will go to boost reference for the car, wastegates, and blow off valve. But we'll get that set up here pretty soon. A little bit later today, I'm planning on cleaning up these lines here. Probably gonna cut this one off and tap it for boost reference to go down there. But that'll be a little bit later today. And just got these fittings in. It just plug and play basically. It just adapts this to a -10 AN and makes it so you don't have to weld this on. I was kind of an idiot and got these fully powder coated before I had anything welded. And the fabricator was like, hey, if we weld the bung on this right here, it's probably gonna mess up all that paint, and your paint job is really nice. Or powder coat, same. Not really. So I got these adapters from Lethal. It was like 70, 80 bucks for both of them. And they literally just screw it on. There's an interesting little like Allen bolt in there, I guess, to tighten them down. But I just left it the way it is for right now. So let me see. That's pretty much all fuel system stuff. There's a Y fitting back there. It's got the regulator after the fuel rails. That made the most sense to me, so that's how I did it. And I initially had the gauge on the regulator. I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to see that at all. So put it up here, and you can see the fuel gauge, so that's nice. Later I might try to get some black heat wrap to cover these here, because the engine bay's got a whole lot of black and blue and brown. I feel like those stick out like really, really bad, but I don't know. One thing at a time, right? Okay, so next up is the whole part of the show right here. Big old teardrop. And that got made by the fabricator, Johnny De La Rosa. Absolutely killed it on that. Even matched it blue to go with the car. The rough part about the tubular front end on this car is that nothing fit, like absolutely nothing fit with the tubular front end. All had to be remade. So like the headers fit and the turbo kind of fits, but the ABS is in the way a little bit. But the downpipe would hit on the frame rail down there because the stock frame rail is higher. So this had to get adapted. So it has a V-band there now. And then it was turned and rotated and then cut here for bumper and then teardrop added. So now finally the downpipe fits. That was a big struggle. And then the next one is the radiator here has to get lowered 2 inches, and they provide drop brackets, and the drop brackets would just bolt onto the stock frame rail, which is right down there. But guess what? You can't bolt on a bracket to a tubular front end. So these are all custom here. You did a little boxing there, fab that on. I say custom, but I mean, you know, just the fab work needed to make it fit. And then a couple little adapters here and a set screw so that this is very solid. The radiator can't come up or down now. It's very solid there. And then there's a nipple here, the stock placement that was super long that came out to like here. So we just cut that off and tapped it, and it's got a 1/8 NPT here. I have a 3/8 fitting here for the hose just to clip on. And I think I'm gonna change that to an AN. I think I'm gonna do 1/8 NPT to 6 AN and do another 90 here, and then just have the line go over that way. And then I think I'm gonna do the same thing here for the bleeder nipple, is tap that and then put a 6 AN on there, but we'll see, one step at a time. Okay, so another thing done by fabrication, tab here and a tab here to hold the computer, and that fits great with the bumper. These are headlights that are custom reworked, so there's the lines for them here. Tucked those back up in there and make space for the computer here. Blow off valve fits just barely, and then that piping sneaks up in there. The cold side piping had to get redone as well, so there's an extra segment that's in here that I already repainted, so it's all black. And then there's another segment over here. This had to get added, and I also repainted that too, so it all looks nice and clean. But that had to get done just to have it fit around the tubular front end. And then the last thing is brackets. There wasn't anywhere for the intercooler to mount up, so the bracket there and the bracket here got welded on. Painted all that, took off everything, and repainted the front tube end. I should have filmed it, but I don't know, I just like working on the car. So did all that, put it all back together. It looks like a whole car again. And now I'll talk about next steps. Okay, so another thing that this kit had that I needed to deal with was hardly any space here for the coolant line from the radiator. So there was a thermostat housing here, it came off here and it went down, and there's like no space between the hot side. The initial pipe was hitting the hot side, and I didn't like that. So instead, deleted the thermostat, got a -20 on here, and then have a -20 bung that's welded on down there now. So today I'm gonna make that -20 line, which I've heard is gonna be real rough. Oh, also Fabricator added is a -10 on here as well, which I got covered right now, but -10 there, that'll go to the tank. So I wanna do that -20, I wanna tap this, and there's one other little thing that's bothering me. I don't know if anybody else has rear end work done, but I have, in the rear end, it has a spool, and then it has 35 spline axles with C-clip eliminators, and then it has 5/8 studs. So the 5/8 studs fit with the wheel just the way they are without modifying it. The 1/2" studs, I think it's 1/2", the size up from the stock ones, you'd have to drill out these wheels or go to like a weld or something that actually fits for a bigger stud. So this is stock size studs, but they're screwed in from the back. So these are like 1320 wheel lug nuts, which look real fancy, but those studs are screwed in from the back. And so I guess 2 of them, when I was tightening the lug nuts, they screwed out. And so the length is a little bit different. Like these 3 are longer and these 2 are shorter. So it isn't hitting anything, but I don't like that. I want it to be fixed. So I'm gonna pull this off. The plan is to obviously like take everything off, take the wheel off, get the studs out, tighten the studs so they're all the way flush, and then maybe throw some Loctite in the threads on the back side, and then some anti-seize on the studs here where the lug nut goes on. So that's the plan for today. Okay, so here's the wheel off. Don't mind the little dot in the middle of the S there. If you touch that, it doesn't stay flat. I didn't know that. Okay, so here you'll see suspension setup stuff. Yes, on just the BPS springs right now. I need to raise that and stuff. But in here, you can see the bolt that backed out right there. Yep. And you can't really tell from the front right now, but anyways, the 3 over here, those are good, and this one backed out. So we're gonna tighten those in, put some Loctite on there, and see if we can get those in better condition. Okay, so I'm getting my process down. Don't mind me with the headlight here, but I just got the bolts pulled out some. And then I'm just putting on a little bit of red, or a lot of bit of red, right there on the threads. And then I'm gonna tighten this back in. And then I'm gonna torque it down. But these were, I was able to just spin this out by hand. So yeah, highly recommend putting some Loctite. I got red, so it hopefully will not move at all. And then I'll put some anti-seize on that. So hopefully that'll get these extended wheel studs all happy. Check out that monster truck fitment. Yeah, baby. Monster truck. No, I'm just kidding. So wheel studs are now in great shape. Red Loctite on the back, tightened all of them, torqued them, anti-seize on the threads, and then they all went in totally smooth now, all the exact same length, all totally flush. I feel like this is little stuff, like simple stuff that should be not even a spoken thing, but with the wheel studs that come with the C-clip eliminator strange 35 spline axles, this is how it goes. So I kept having issues with them spinning in. Now they're gonna be good. I'm gonna go to the other side and then let down the back of the car. Okay, so I'm working on this dash 20 line, and the top was rough. It's such a big fitting to turn. So yeah, I got a bit scratched up, but it's all the way seated. And I got it clocked how I want it right now. So got the bottom part taped and getting ready to cut. And then we'll see if we can get the bottom fitting on. So the line is cut, and man, it's not very much distance between the two, but it's a pretty good cut. Just cleaned it up a little bit with a grinder, and then you'll see if I can get the bottom fitting on. I think this is pretty much the hardest part, is getting on this bottom fitting, because even once you slide it over the initial threads, it doesn't want to go on. It wants to do its own thing. I'm different. So I got initially pushed on, and now a little trick I figured out is, let me see, this one, this. This just helps the pipe not to collapse, and then tightening down on the screwdriver handle basically in the vise, and then I just beat it up. Almost there. That's really close. think I like it there. Yep, that's the spot. And then I'm just gonna take out the screwdriver, and then I'm gonna put the bottom thread, bottom fitting into the vise, and then lube it up. Without the lube, it has been absolutely terrible. So inside the rubber part here, where it's gonna touch, lube that up pretty good, and then just a little bit on the tip, just the tip. Then let's see if this, come on, little buddy. You still don't want to thread? Okay, got it. You want to do your own thing, I get it, but can you just for once do what I want? Now it's threading. Luckily this is a 90, so it's pretty easy to spin, but it should spin freely. Yeah, there we go. Now, the fitting isn't going, just the head is spinning. And now the struggle begins. So since I'm a cheap weirdo, I just got a really big wrench and I got tape on it to try to protect the AN, and very carefully lining it up and then just spinning it. And I'll just do this all the way till it gets to the bottom and I start struggling for my life, because it's gonna get lots worse. Okay, so the line is complete. So dash 20 with a 90 degree down here and a 45 up here. It's kind of a 5-footer because if you get really close, you can see the black pen that's covering up some of the marks on there. But they're tight, it's finished, shouldn't leak. And now I'll see if we can get it to fit up in the car. Okay, so the AN line is all done. Got it in there. Tighten down here. Perfectly goes around the turbo. Goes right down to the bottom of the radiator there. Man, it turned out so good. Love that placement. And it keeps it away from all the hot side stuff here. Definitely worth the money, the time, the effort. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you have a question about something, if you see something that looks weird, or stupid, or cool, or I don't know, if you like car stuff, comment something. All right, cool. Catch you next time.